Okay, so we're back with another NLC interview. This time I'm lucky to be joined by M&M's mid laner, Chemera. Chemera, how's it going?
Yeah, good. Thanks for having me.
Good stuff. I just want to kind of start with the beginning of the split, basically. Then, so you've returned to the NLC after playing in Div 2 last split. Firstly, I suppose congrats on getting back in.
Thank you.
That was the first split that the Div 2 has ever actually had, because it was obviously the UKLC and Talia Masters before, and you'd played in the UKLC as well. So, firstly, I just wondered what were your thoughts on the level of Div 2 compared to maybe UKLC before.
I mean, big, there's a big jump in terms. Well, I mean, downgrade in terms of level. I think there was an inconsistency in terms of teams who were investing in comparison to teams who weren't investing. Like at the top, there was 2, 3 pretty decent teams in Munster, Natives, and I think Rate were another good team, but I can't quite remember off the top of my head. Um, and then the rest of them were quite lower level, maybe giving chances to players who haven't really had as much opportunities. Um, and then you compare that to the UKOC before, where you had, Fnac Academy, Excel Academy, even like Envision or Barrage, who are all like investing a lot and with some really great players. And it's not really comparable in that way. So it's definitely there's a big difference in level,
Mhm.
but there were still competitive games towards the top. Obviously, Natus were our biggest rivals as Munster and took the first place in the end. But
hmm
yeah,
Well,
it's a
back
big
compared to
drop.
like, I think the last UKLC split you played in was it last season, last spring, when it was just the NLC had just been introduced above it, and then UKLC became Div 2 at that point.
Yeah,
Does
I
it
think it was
feel
with
sort of similar to that?
Resolve.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think actually the level was probably better last split than it was in that year. I think we were in Resolve, like we were probably one of the only quote unquote good teams. Um, and there definitely was a rise up last year. I could feel a difference. Whether that's because I was playing with maybe teammates who weren't at the same level as in Resolve or not. I'm not sure. But I definitely felt that it was more competitive last split than the split before. Obviously, we went 14-0 in Resolve, so it kind of
hmm
speaks for itself. But yeah, I mean, it definitely feels like it's up on the upswing. Maybe it was just because it was the first split for Div 2 NLC. So
hmm
yeah.
Fair enough. And obviously, since that, off the back of that, you've rejoined M&M, and then teaming up with Caleb and Soph again. Was that like a conscious thing of you guys trying to join the team together, or did it just kind of happen?
Um, not really. I think the way Eminem was put together, the split was Carrico wanted players who saw the game in a similar way, and he wanted to he didn't do like actual in-house trials. He asked for VODs to get like perspectives, how you are integrated into a team, like what can you actually show and what do you do when you're in a team, rather than basing things off of trials where it's messy. You might play against like a worse player and then look better, or vice versa. So he was actually looking for people who communicated the same way, saw the game the same way, and it kind of just happened that me, Caleb, and Soph, we do see the game very similarly. Um, and it does help that because we all know each other, there was probably more of a reassurance for him to seek after us and put us together. Especially because when we were in Resolve towards the ends, results maybe didn't see it, but in scrims we were starting to really come together as a team, and we were hoping we could build something similar off that this year. That's yeah, basically how it came apart.
hmm Fair enough then. And then obviously the split actually starting, I think it's fair to say, hasn't gone quite as planned so far. I think I remember hearing on one of your interviews, were you ill earlier on,
Yeah.
and then there was I feel like maybe that combined with the patch change, I think maybe that's not helped things as well. It's just not much maybe stability so far, or what do you see the issues as being so far?
Yeah, it's been really unfortunate. Obviously, every team has their own personal like issues, so I don't want to use that as a full excuse. But coming into the durability patch, and which was such a huge patch, I got really sick with COVID, to the point where it was really difficult for us to practice. I have a really big voice in the team, and I think we have built off that from the start before the split started, and when we started the split started, even then we were building off that. Like I had a big voice, and people relied on that. And as soon as I got hit with COVID, it was like a week and a half where it was just I couldn't barely like practice. So it caused a lot of issues with us finding it really difficult to kind of figure out what was good in the patch, because when you aren't playing well in scrims and nothing works, it's kind of hard
Hmm.
to find out what is good. Um, so that week against Veneer and Riddle was a bit of a write-off for us, unfortunately. And then coming into this week, we had a lot higher expectations. Things were going much better, and it really sucks that we went 0-2 this week, considering we absolutely should have beat Enrique yesterday. I think we had like a 7k, 8k gold lead.
Hmm.
Um, and the Astralis talent game, we were in commanding position for most of the game. We were what Dracoff sold. We just had to kind of be a bit better at mid game, and for us, like again, it sucks, but we are on that upwards trajectory,
Hmm.
which is a really important thing to hold on for. So we still have a lot of faith that as long as we're like having efficient practice still, we're still
Hmm.
going to get there in the end. But
I
yeah,
was going to say,
really rough.
is there like a bit of a silver lining then? Like you say, it's an 0-2 week, but then both games, I think there were definitely stages where you, like you say, you were in control. Is that obviously that maybe in a way makes it almost worse, like it's maybe more frustrating, but then can you still sort of build on that though?
Yeah, I definitely felt a lot worse yesterday in the Stralis game as to when we lost against Riddle and Veneer, because Riddle and Veneer, like we didn't even have a fighting chance. We just played awful from the start. Whereas in these games, we should have, like I said, we should have won these. So losing them was extremely tilting and frustrating. But like you said, there is silver lining. We are playing a lot better than we did in first weeks, especially with trying to get on top of the new patch. So
Hmm.
yeah, it's not all doom and gloom. We just have to really kind of put the extra foot forward and go the extra mile, and
Hmm.
start taking these wins home, because now it's becoming a little bit in the sketch area where if we lose another 2-3 games, then maybe it's going to get out of our control.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, then, funnily enough, as well, the one win you got so far, obviously, was against X7, who were the best team last split. Um, is it a case of just sort of trying to go back to maybe what worked then? Because I know that game it was like a pop up, sorry, a pop off from Samira in particular, and then I don't think I don't know if it was yesterday or Monday's stream. Kalen was asked about it, and he sort of said, "Well, you can't necessarily play a champ like Samira anymore with the latest patch." So is it kind of difficult to even build off that win? Then do you have to sort of rethink the game plan with the patch as well?
Yeah, I mean that was another thing which we were struggling with coming into the past week and the week before was we had like a really good team identity coming into the previous patch before the durability one against X7, and as soon as that all changed, it went back to the drawing board with that. I do think you can still make these work. Um, they're maybe a little less optimal, and you have to find they're a lot more niche now, finding the spots.
Hmm.
So maybe if Samir is into multiple range champs and limited CC, then you can still of course make the champ work, but it's not the same as before, where if you just see maybe one or two champs, and then you'd be like, okay, we can just build a Samir comp here. Um, but yeah, we still just we have found a much more of an identity now, which I guess is what, in my opinion, got us the win against X7. So yeah, we're just trying to figure that out and trying to
Hmm.
find some diversity with that.
Yeah. And just kind of calling back to some of the post game interviews as well. I think it was Shredder mentioned it. I think this was yesterday. Um, he highlighted an issue maybe not following comms. Do you think that's maybe partly where you've maybe had those maybe week and a half or so of scrims where you are one of the main shot callers? You can't really kind of get that synergy, I suppose, of listening to your voice or like how people are working around what you're saying. Do you think that maybe plays into that as well?
Yeah, I mean, partly I think more and more, the more I play the game and the more we scrim, I think it's hard for the game to be dictated by a single voice or one or two voices. And one thing I'm trying to push for now is that we all understand the game the same level, and we all see it at this high level to a point where if maybe I'm not on the ball, I think of the Australis game, I wasn't really on the ball with my comms, and when that happens, I could feel we kind of uh, play much slower and we're not as decisive because we're used to me talking so much. So I'm really pushing for us all to understand that same level. So if one person's falling, another one can pick them up, and it's much more of a team wide
Hmm.
voice rather than just this one person. I think that's just really important. So I'm hoping over the next week or two we'll kind of get a bit more on top of that, and everyone can have their own opinions
Yeah. Do you
and
think that would
yeah,
help as
just
well? The fact that,
dynamic.
like you said, the team was kind of drafted because of people that had the same ideas generally about the game. Do you think that will help too? Then.
Yeah, definitely. I think people just need to we just need to understand your roles individually better at each point in the game, and yeah, I think it will help us a lot,
Hmm.
which I'm really excited for.
Cool. And then, yeah, looking ahead to next week, then. So you've got Byfrost first, who are obviously I think they're like second at the moment. I think they've only dropped one game so far, but then that was to Nariki, which was a fair bit of an upset. So I suppose that they are beatable. Are you fairly confident on that one?
Yeah, I mean, I think Bifrost is definitely one of the better teams in the league. I would say Bifrost and Excel from watching the games so far are definitely the two top teams. I have a lot of respect for their mid laner Fury. I think he's
Hmm.
really talented and he's really stable. So I'm looking forward to playing against him. Firstly, but secondly, I think even though they swapped two players out last split and they've got Diamond Prox and Highway, I think now, I think they still have a lot of the same fundamentals that they had last split, and they're still a really stable team. Which I think if you're a consistent team, it's a good signs of a good team. So yeah, they're definitely good. But I think we have. I mean, I'm still confident if we keep this trajectory, then we'll have a good chance and a great chance to beat them.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, we have a bit to go in terms of coming together.
Hmm.
But yeah, still looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Should be good.
Well, then the game after that, you got Singularity, who, kind of putting it bluntly, has like been mostly a free win for people so far. To be honest, sort of even similar to last bit, by one or two games. It, do you see that maybe, especially if things don't go your way against Bifrost, is that maybe like the most important game you've had so far, that Singularity one? Because that's one where you can sort of at least you'd
Yeah,
hope get a bit of confidence back. Maybe it helps that it's the end of the week as well. Like if you win that, then you kind of ended the week on a high.
yeah, I think so. I think you have to be SNG. I like a lot of the players on there. They're all really great guys. But yeah, just the way that their teams run in terms of like not practicing as much and stuff. Like you need to beat them if you want to have any chance. So yeah, we focus a lot on the Bifrost game, but then obviously I think SNG their biggest thing is they have a kind of wacky drafts a lot of the time. So you got to just watch out for that. But
Hmm.
yeah, we need to for sure beat them.
Cool. Well, then to just sort of bring this to an end, I did have a question from our editor Dom Sacco. From I think a question he posed to you a while ago. He's asked me to check with you. Are you still called the Scottish Faker?
I'm the Scottish Faker. It was Scottish Chovy for a while, a few splits ago, but I'm back on my Faker grind, and I'm Scottish Faker, born and proud.
Nice. I kind of on that topic as well. Just maybe one more thing to chat about. I don't know if you've seen about the Commonwealth Games that are going on in August, where they're doing. It's kind of like an extension of the actual Commonwealth Games. They're doing like an esports championship.
Oh yeah,
Is that something you'd hope maybe at some point have a Scottish League of Legends team in there? Maybe.
I would absolutely love that. I didn't hear anything about that. The unfortunate thing about Scotland League of Legend is there just isn't really any of us.
Get
I
Snoopy out
don't
of
even think
retirement.
I don't even think I could name five Scottish players. I think there's me, Beartree. I think Icy Gale's Scottish from what I remember, but aside from that, that's it. I'm not sure how good we do, but I would still love to.
Hmm.
Maybe I'll slide in. Maybe it'll be a UK team in the end, and I can slide in. But that'd be really sick to do.
Cool. We'll see. Maybe in what next one be 2026.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll pose a question. All right, nice one. That'll bring it to an end then. So yeah, thanks for joining me again, Chemera, and best
Cheers.
of luck next week.
Great. Thanks very much.